Some people don't take from you in obvious ways. They don't shout. They don't threaten. Instead, they ask, quietly, gently, even kindly. But underneath those requests, something begins to shift inside you. Your peace feels less available. Your voice feels less certain. And somehow, you're no longer standing where you once stood in your own life. This video is not about blaming others. It's not about anger. It's about awareness. It's about seeing clearly the kinds of people who, often without realizing it, ask for parts of you that you should never give away. Because when someone consistently asks for your silence, your softness, your availability, what they're really doing is reshaping your identity around their needs. And if you're not careful, you wake up one day feeling distant from yourself. Not because of one big event, but because of 100 quiet compromises you made just to keep the peace. So, I'm asking you to listen closely. Not just with your ears, but with your body, your breath, your memory. Notice the moments in your life where you said yes, but something deep in you whispered no. Carl Jung once said that people don't become enlightened by imagining light, but by making the darkness conscious. And that's what this is, a soft light on the small, invisible things that drain you. This is your invitation to stop making yourself smaller, just to be more acceptable. To stop editing your truth for the comfort of those who never offer the same in return. To stop calling it love when it's actually quiet control. You don't need to be dramatic. You don't need to explain. But you do need to see. And once you see, you never unsee. Let this video be a mirror. Let it be a reminder that your peace is precious. Your voice is sacred. And your life is not a place for quiet takers. It belongs to you. Part 1. The ones who fear your silence. There's a kind of person who becomes deeply uncomfortable when you fall quiet. Not because they're worried about you, but because in your silence, they can no longer shape what you think. They lose access. They lose control. And so, they do everything they can to pull you back into noise. Their noise. You may have noticed it before. The moment you take a breath to reflect, they fill the space with questions. Are you okay? You're so distant lately. What's wrong with you? But nothing's wrong. You're just trying to hear yourself think. You're simply reaching for stillness. For that sacred space where your thoughts are your own, untouched and unedited. Yet to someone who depends on your constant attention, that space is threatening. It's where you begin to see clearly. It's where their influence begins to fade. Carl Jung taught that silence is not emptiness. It's fullness. It's where the unconscious speaks. And if you listen closely enough, you begin to remember who you were before the noise, before their expectations, before their demands, before you started shrinking to fit inside their comfort. But those who fear your silence will try to fill it, not with care, but with control disguised as connection. They'll joke. They'll guilt you. They'll remind you of all the ways you've changed, as if that change is something to apologize for. And maybe, for a while, you do apologize. You soften. You return. Because the discomfort of their disapproval feels heavier than your own emptiness. But eventually, something clicks. You realize that you don't owe anyone your constant accessibility. You don't need to fill every gap with words, with updates, with proof that you're still loyal. Because the people who truly love you don't panic when you grow quiet. They wait. They honor your space. Your silence is not a problem. It's a boundary. It's where you reconnect with the deepest parts of yourself. And anyone who fears that is not afraid for you. They're afraid of losing the version of you that served their comfort. But you were not born to play a supporting role in someone else's narrative. You were born to live yours, fully, freely, and sometimes quietly. So here's the truth. If someone needs your constant noise to feel secure in their place in your life, they're not building connection. They're managing you. And the moment you see it, you stop explaining. You stop apologizing. You stop reaching back to soothe a fear that was never yours to carry. You start protecting your stillness, because in that stillness, you become unshakable. You hear your own thoughts again. You feel your breath in your body, and you realize this is what it feels like to return home to yourself. So, if they fear your silence, let them face the part of you they can't manipulate. Let them meet the version of you that doesn't need to explain or perform. Because the truth is, you never owed them your noise in the first place. Part 2. The ones who edit your identity. There are people in your life who don't just want to know who you are. They want to decide who you're allowed to be. Subtly, quietly, with small remarks that chip away at your edges. You've never been like that. That's not really you. Why are you trying to be someone else? At first, it sounds like care. Like they're trying to protect you from making a mistake. But over time, you start to realize what they're really protecting is their version of you. The version they're comfortable with. The one who stays agreeable, predictable, the one who doesn't take up too much space or change the rhythm they've grown used to. But you're not here to be a fixed character in someone else's story. You're not meant to stay the same just to keep someone else from feeling insecure. You are allowed to grow out of the box they put you in. Even if that box was once filled with love, friendship, or family ties. Because love that edits your identity isn't love, it's containment. And you've likely felt it, that strange tension when you start to evolve. When your thoughts shift, your dreams expand. And suddenly, they question your authenticity, as if staying small is the only way to be real. But here's something you need to hear clearly. You are not betraying anyone by becoming more you. It's not your job to make your growth digestible to others. You don't need to dull your shine so they feel less left behind. You don't need to keep playing the role they assigned you when you were quieter, more agreeable, more convenient. Because you're not here to be convenient. You're here to be true, and truth evolves. The people who edit your identity don't see you. They see a reflection of what they want, what they remember, what they're trying to hold on to, even if it means losing the real, living version of you that's unfolding. And that unfolding is sacred. Messy, yes. Uncomfortable at times, absolutely, but real. So ask yourself, who benefits when you stay small? Who gets to stay comfortable while you stay confused? Who gets to feel secure while you feel unseen? You don't owe anyone your stagnation. You don't have to ask for permission to grow. And you certainly don't have to explain why you're changing. Because some things are too deep to explain. Some awakenings happen in silence, in private moments of clarity that only you will ever fully understand. So when they say, "You've changed," you can say, "Yes, I have." And you don't need to defend that. You don't need to go back to who you were just to keep the peace, because the peace that asks you to shrink isn't peace. It's control. Protect your evolution, honor your becoming, and walk away, gently, quietly, from anyone who insists on editing you back into a role you've already outgrown. Because this life, this one brief, beautiful life, was never meant to be spent in someone else's version of you. It was meant to be lived as your whole, honest self, unfiltered, unedited, and finally free. Part 3. The ones who quiet your dreams. There are people in your life who don't say no to your face. They say it in smaller, quieter ways. In the raised eyebrow. In the silence after you share your plans. In the way they change the subject every time you speak from your heart. They won't tell you to stop dreaming, but they'll make sure you feel foolish for trying, and over time, their doubts become your own. You start questioning yourself, not because your dreams aren't real, but because their hesitation begins to echo louder than your hope. They say they're being realistic. They call it just looking out for you. But deep down, you feel it. They're not protecting you. They're projecting their fear onto you. And your dreams were never built to fit inside their fear. Your path was never meant to be small enough to make them comfortable. You're allowed to want more, to aim higher, to reach for things they never even imagined, because this is your life, not theirs. You don't need their permission to believe in something bigger. You don't have to explain your fire to those who only know how to carry water. There will always be voices that try to keep you grounded. But not in the good way, not in the way that builds roots, in the way that clips wings. And if you've been shrinking your vision just to keep certain people close, it's time to ask, are they close to you? Or only close to the version of you that stays quiet? Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is protect a dream no one else understands. Even when you feel alone, even when no one claps, even when the people you love look confused instead of proud. Because your dreams are not a performance. They are the deepest conversations between your soul and the life you're meant to live. And no one else has to hear them for them to matter. You were not born to settle into someone else's idea of what's reasonable. You were born to expand, to stretch past doubt, to keep building, even when the world tells you it's too late or too hard or too unrealistic. They don't have to get it. They don't have to approve. They don't even have to support you. But you have to believe. Because you're the only one who knows what that dream feels like in your chest when the world is quiet, when no one is watching, when it's just you and the ache to become something more. So don't quiet your dreams just to stay close to those who've stopped dreaming. Don't trade your fire for their comfort. Don't bury your calling in their silence. Some people will only love the version of you that stays small, but your soul is calling you forward. Louder than their doubt, stronger than their hesitation. And if you must walk alone for a while, walk. Walk with courage, walk with hope, walk with the quiet, knowing that your dreams matter. Because they do. They are not too much. You are not too much. You are becoming. And that is a journey worth protecting. Part 4. The ones who redefine harm as love. Sometimes, the people who hurt you the most say they're doing it out of love. They speak in circles, using affection like a trap. One moment they lift you up, the next they cut you down, but always with the same words. I'm only saying this because I care. It sounds like love. It even feels like love. At first. But deep down, something doesn't sit right. Because real love does not confuse you. Real love does not twist pain into proof of loyalty. You may have grown used to the discomfort. You might have told yourself, maybe this is what love is supposed to feel like. Because when you were younger, maybe that's what you saw. Love that criticized. Love that controlled. Love that only showed up when you stayed small enough not to threaten it. But that's not love. That's harm dressed in tenderness. That's fear wearing the mask of care. You deserve better than conditional acceptance. You deserve love that doesn't ask you to shrink, apologize, or bleed quietly. Love should not make you second-guess your worth. It should not come with terms and quiet punishments for simply being yourself. When someone hurts you and tells you it's because they love you, pause. Not to question your heart, but to question the definition they're offering you. Because not everyone who uses the word love understands it. Some people offer control and call it safety. Some people wound you and say it's wisdom. Some people withhold kindness and claim it builds strength. But you know the difference. You feel it in your body, in the way your shoulders tense when they walk in the room, in the way your voice softens, not out of peace, but out of fear, in the way you explain away their behavior, even when it breaks something in you. You are allowed to stop justifying harm. You are allowed to walk away from people who use love as a leash. Because real love, deep, grounded, mature love, does not confuse control with connection. It does not need to dim your light to feel safe. And maybe it's time you stop calling pain a lesson. Maybe it's time you stop mistaking survival for loyalty. You can outgrow people and still wish them peace. You can protect your heart without hardening it. This isn't about blame. It's about truth. It's about reclaiming the quiet knowing inside you that says, this doesn't feel like love, even if they say it is. Love should feel like safety, not strategy. It should be freedom, not fear. It should be presence, not performance. So if someone is redefining harm as love in your life, take a breath. Listen to that small, steady voice inside that's been whispering, you deserve something softer. Because you do. You always have. And choosing to step away from distorted love is not a betrayal of others. It's a return to yourself. This is your turning point. To stop confusing hurt with depth. To stop calling chaos passion. To stop making yourself smaller just to fit someone else's version of love. You are not made to be controlled. You were not born to earn affection through silence. You were made for something deeper, something quieter, something real. And it starts when you say, this may look like love, but it doesn't feel like truth. And you walk toward what does. Part 5. The ones who teach you to distrust yourself. Have you ever felt like you were losing touch with your own instincts? Like you started questioning every decision, even the ones that once felt right? The voice inside you that used to be your guiding star, your inner compass, begins to fade. And in its place, you hear the opinions of others, louder and louder, until they drown out your own. The ones who teach you to distrust yourself do so subtly. It's never direct or obvious. They won't stand up and tell you that you're wrong. Instead, they'll make you second-guess everything. They'll call your confidence arrogance. They'll turn your natural doubts into fears, twisting them until you believe that you can't trust yourself. It starts with little things. Maybe they question your choices, not with curiosity, but with judgment. They'll point out flaws in your reasoning, but never suggest solutions. Just criticism. You start doubting your own ability to see what's true, to understand what's right for you. What used to be clear becomes murky, and soon you find yourself asking, am I making the right choice? Or am I just fooling myself? It doesn't have to be loud to be damaging. It doesn't have to be abusive to tear you down. The subtle erosion of your trust in yourself happens when someone constantly plants seeds of doubt in your mind. When they consistently tell you that you are too much or not enough. When they say things like, you're overthinking it, or you're too emotional. And slowly, your own voice gets quieter, until one day you realize you don't know what you truly want or need anymore. This is when you lose touch with your inner strength. You stop trusting your feelings, your instincts, your gut. Instead, you start looking to others to tell you what's right, what's wrong, and you forget that your own heart has the answers. You forget that your body has its own wisdom, a wisdom that you were born with, a wisdom that is still there, waiting to be reawakened. But it's never too late. You can always return to yourself. You can always reclaim the power that you've allowed others to take from you. So how do you begin to trust yourself again? It starts with listening. Not to the voices around you, but to the voice inside. That quiet whisper that says, this feels right, this doesn't. It's not always easy, especially when you've been conditioned to second-guess yourself. But if you listen long enough, you'll hear it again, the truth of your own voice. You don't need permission to trust your instincts. You don't need anyone's approval to follow your heart. Your intuition, the little nudges, the gut feelings, they are not mistakes. They are the language of your soul, speaking to you, guiding you toward what's meant for you. Remember, the ones who teach you to distrust yourself do so because they fear your power. They fear your ability to stand firm in your truth. They fear your independence, your confidence, your clarity. And in their fear, they try to make you question yourself. But you don't have to fall for it. It's time to stop doubting who you are. You are enough. You are capable. You have within you everything you need to navigate your own life, to make your own choices, and to trust yourself again. You don't need anyone to tell you what's right for you. You know what's right. You always have. And if you listen closely enough, you'll find that the answers are waiting for you inside. You've always had the strength to follow your own path. You've always had the wisdom to trust yourself. And now, it's time to remember. It's time to come home to your own truth, to reconnect with the voice inside you that knows the way. You've got this. And you don't need anyone else to tell you that. Conclusion. As you reflect on these 5 types of people who can hold you back, remember this. Your journey is yours alone. The power to change, to rise above, and to trust in yourself has always been inside you. It's not about waiting for someone else to tell you that you're enough or that your dreams are valid. It's about remembering, deep within your heart, that you have everything you need to move forward. The ones who fear your silence, edit your identity, quiet your dreams, redefine harm as love, and teach you to distrust yourself. These people only hold power if you let them. But the truth is, you're stronger than any of their doubts. You're more capable than any criticism they could throw your way. And you are worthy of everything you dream of, no matter what anyone else says. Now, it's your turn to take back control, to reclaim your voice, to silence the noise that tells you who you should be, and to listen to the wisdom that's been inside you all along. If you've resonated with this message, don't keep it to yourself. Take a moment to reflect on what's truly important to you, on what feels right. Then, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Help them reconnect with their own power and remind them that they too can trust themselves. And before you go, hit that like button if this resonated with you. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, designed to help you live with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's the one thing you're going to stop doubting about yourself today? You have the strength to change your life. Now, it's time to act on it. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, you are more than enough.